Alright, we're jumping right into it by priming our face. So I use two primers because I'm that extra and they both do two different things. The first one is by Milk and the second one is by Maybelline. One of them is going to help my makeup adhere. The other one is going to help with pores. So that is why I use two different primers. And then I go ahead in with my Maybelline Dream Urban Cover Foundation. I'm in the shade 220 Natural Beige. I actually used to really hate this foundation until I started applying it with my e.l.f. sponge. With a regular brush, it left it so streaky on my face. I love how easy it is to work with this foundation, especially using a sponge, because that was not the experience that I had when I used a brush with it. And I also do like the fact that it does have sunscreen in it because I'm horrible at making sure that I do apply sunscreen. My skin is very oily, so sunscreens just tend to make it, oilier, so I really don't wear so much sunscreen, which is probably bad. But this foundation does have it, so that's like the best part. You probably don't want to see my finger all up in my nose, but that's what I do, so I'm not going to delete that part. Sometimes the makeup literally will crease right in there and it looks kind of gross, so do whatever you have to do to make sure that that face is flawless. So after that, I go in with two concealers actually. So the first concealer is by L'Oreal and it's the Infallible Concealer in the shade 370, which is Biscuit. And then I go in with a little lighter concealer, which is by Maybelline Fit Me, and this is the shade 15 Fair. So once I blend all of that out, I just bring up the concealer up to my forehead, over my eyelids, just, wherever I still kind of need to cancel out some discoloration, that's what I'll do. And I'm not applying any extra product. This is just me blending already what I do have. I do apply a little extra of that concealer though right there where I did have a pimple, just because that's where I'm going to put some bronzer. If I add bronzer to that area, it's just going to make it a lot more noticeable and dark. So I just wanted to conceal it. And then, working with that little bit of concealer that I did use, just on other spots that I did feel like I still had to cover. Alright, so when we're happy with the foundation and how it is, we are going to go right into setting it. So I use the Airspun Loose Face Powder in Translucent. I put it in the back of my hand and we are using that same e.l.f. sponge. First going in with the side of the sponge with no powder just to blend out any creasing, and then I will go ahead and set it with the powder side. A very, very light coat underneath your eyes, mainly for me just because I do tend to crease a lot underneath my eyes. They've been a little dry lately, so we're just going to ignore that. And we up in our clouds when people change, but not us. And we just chillin', kicking it, kissed by the sun. Could be soaked to the skin in the mall soon. I set my whole face like this, but I do put a lot more powder on the rest of my face versus my T-zone, especially just because I know where I crease. So you just want to avoid putting a lot of powder where you normally would crease. 'Cause you got me holding, even if my jokes aren't funny, my tongue tied up on it, and I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding. So I feel like using my sponge to set my face with some loose powder, it actually just helps it look a lot more natural because that sponge still is damp, so it's going to help keep melting products right into your skin. And I'll be running, possessed by a low, low voodoo, fired up like a wolf on a full moon, and we're stuck in a... Alright, so then I'm going to go ahead and use just a big fluffy brush. This one's from Real Techniques. Most of my brushes are, but this is just to help, dust off any extra powder that we do have still on your face. And then a smaller brush just to go underneath my eyes and just areas where I really couldn't get with that big brush. So once we're done dusting off all that extra powder, I'm going to go ahead and set my face using the Maybelline Lasting Fix Setting Spray. While that dries, I always make sure to just wipe off the foundation from my lips, just because my lips are dry sometimes and that just makes them look a lot more crusty than usual. So then I like to go in with that sponge around my mouth just to blend out the product, and then I go ahead and I put Vaseline. So the next thing that we're doing now is bronzing our face. So we aren't contouring, we're just bronzing. So we're just adding some color back in because we do look like ghosts right now. Play me like a bass guitar, simmer down and mash me up, tripping like I'm Jimmy at Woodstock, and drumming around in your red Ford, shivers down my spinal cord, cause you got me holding. I put most of my bronzer on the sides of my forehead just because that's my widest part of my face, you know, depending on your head shape, but the one that I was blessed with, that's where most of the bronzer goes. Then whatever's left over, I just do it underneath my nose, jawline, and chin. Alright, cute. So then we're taking our handy dandy sponge and we're just going to go over wherever we bronze just to go ahead and diffuse any lines, or diffuse, is that even the word? I don't know. But then I'm going to use that bronzer and I actually put a little bit of it on my eyelids just to add some dimension back into my eyes. I do have hooded eyes and this is just something that I always do. It just looks a lot better, honestly. And then I go ahead and I take the same brush that I dusted the powder underneath my eyes with. It's clean. I just go ahead and blend out any harsh lines. Then I'm going to go ahead and start prepping my eyebrows to fill them in. So I'm just going to wipe out some foundation with a Q-tip, brush them out, and I'm going to use the Anastasia Dip Brow Pomade in dark brown. Oh, who does she think she is? I know is what you're thinking. But clearly we're feeling ourselves already. So I'm going to go ahead and just fill in my eyebrows lightly with that pomade. I'm not a fan of cleaning up my eyebrows. I like to keep it more natural. Honestly, I feel like they just look better on my face, if that makes sense. I don't. It's like 3:11 right now in the morning and I'm over here doing this voiceover. Like, that's crazy. Crazy. But yeah, I'm just filling in my eyebrows. Quarantine vibes. I know we got the good vibes when pieces fall right into place. Even if I lost all my money, the zero runs deep, honey. And I don't need to speak a single word, cause you got me holding. Even if my jokes aren't funny, my tongue tied up on it. Once I'm happy with my eyebrows, I'm just going to go ahead and set my eyebrow hair using this clear mascara from Maybelline. I also like to clean off my hairline with a baby wipe just because I don't want any makeup on my hair because my hair is dark, so it's a lot more visible. And then I go in with my blush. I'm using Milani Baked Blush in the shade Luminoso. I like to go over that again with my sponge just to blend everything in, and then I'm going to use that sponge for highlights. So if you're lazy like me, just clean it off with a makeup remover towel and it's like brand new again. Woo! And you're going to dip that into your highlight. So the highlighter that I'm using is by Wet n Wild, and this is the shade Bloom Time. I also put some on my Cupid's bow, but I'm using that same blush brush just to blend it out, and then my finger just to blend it out on my Cupid's bow. Ooh, $5 highlight. Get you some. So now we're going to go ahead and go in with my mascara. So my favorite one, and I never give this one up, is the L'Oreal Telescopic. I always use the Carbon Black. I think that's the darkest shade. But I coat both sides of my eyelashes, so I always look down into my mirror. And then make sure that you wiggle it and blink as you go, applying. just because that's gonna help you really get the root of your eyelashes. And I'm all about my spidery eyelashes. Usually that's what I say. So I do apply a lot of coats and I do let it dry in between.
Watching the ocean with you, baby, up with a slow motion crew, and we up in our clouds when people change, but not us. And we just chillin', kicking it, kissed by the sun. Could be soaked to the skin in the mall soon. I know she got the good vibes when.
Okay, watching this video, I've realized I really am that extra. So we're gonna go in with another mascara. This is by L'Oreal. This is the Voluminous Mascara. Do another coat with this one, or a couple other coats with that one. Go in with a tweezer just to separate any eyelashes, and then brush them out with a spoolie. So I'm going to do the same thing with my bottom lashes, going in with the first mascara, letting it dry, and then going in again with the second mascara. Okay, so now we're just putting some highlighter in the corner of my eyes and underneath my brow bone, same highlighter we used earlier. And then the last step, you guys, is to use the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless powder in translucent with that same little brush that we've been using just on my T-zone to get rid of any oils. And that's it. We're done.
Fired up like a wolf on a full moon, and we're stuck in a la la land. The tides will turn without us, and I'll be killing time like I might be a cartoon.
Sabiendo que no era mía.